Hey, it's Takara Lastacia with 2020 The Magazine, and I am here with the ladies of the Gathering Spot. What's up, girls?
What's
Hi,
up?
Takara.
Hello.
If you can, please introduce yourselves to our readers.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Saronda Flanagan. I serve as the Member Experience Director here for the Gathering Spot, originally from Tallahassee, Florida. I have been here for 5 years. It seems like longer, but 5 years. And I've actually been, it'll be 6 in September. I've been with the Gathering Spot for 3 years. So kind of got in early and have seen a lot of growth and innovation take place, not just within Atlanta, but we've also opened DC, and LA is opening next as well. So that's my brief intro. I will pass it to, what's up, Bree?
Hi, I am Brianna Rogers, a graduate of Florida A&M University. I've been in Atlanta, so basically technically 5 years. I moved right after Saronda. Yeah. I've known Saronda since I was 15, which is crazy. She introduced me to the Gathering Spot. And I've been at TGS for 2 years. January 23rd was my 2-year anniversary. And I'm the member events director here. It has been an amazing journey. I just got back from DC yesterday. So just to see, I wasn't here when the blueprint was made for Atlanta, but to see like in DC, the opening stages of the club has been very heartwarming and very fulfilling. So I'm just so excited to see what LA will be like and just what the company will look like in the future. We can pass it on to Kelly.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Kelly girl.
I'm Kelly. I'm from Griffin, Georgia, which is an hour south from Atlanta. I'm a graduate from Spelman College, so I've been in Atlanta for about 10 years now. I am Ryan and TK, our CEO, CFO, and our co-founders. I'm their executive assistant. I've been with TGS for about 6 months, I would say. I actually originally started underneath Brianna as member experience coordinator. And, some things happened, and then they shifted me on up to executive assistant. So it's been great so far. I've loved my experience here, just to be able to share my thoughts and my ideas, and it be just kind of like, okay, let's do it. Let's try it out. Just that type of culture. And then again, what Brianna and Saronda said, just seeing it grow. I was not here with the blueprint as well in Atlanta, but to see DC opening and just to see everything just flourishing, it's an amazing feeling. So happy to be here.
Imagine. So when I was doing my research on TGS, Google says it's a country club, and that got me so excited. I was like, "What? Country club for us, like by us?" So, in your own words, I want each of you to tell me what the Gathering Spot is.
It is a private membership club for your professionals, your entrepreneurs, your creatives. It's a collaborative space. It's a space where you can build meaningful relationships intentionally, and collaborate with other members of like mind or like interest. And to be honest, it feels, it's an amazing feeling to be a part of something that we were excluded from for so long. We were not a part of private membership clubs or country clubs. And if you did find us there, it was maybe like 2% of us were in these country clubs. And now we have created a space specifically for us, and not just in Atlanta, like we mentioned, DC, LA, and we're expanding to more markets as well to facilitate these types of opportunities for professionals, whether you're younger, whether you're seasoned, whether you're retired. It's a space for everybody, honestly. As long as as long as you can contribute to the community, you have to have something that contributes to the community, right? I think it can be mutually beneficial if someone's coming here and they have some type of resource that they can offer to the membership community. But we also have programming, which Brianna runs, that we offer to the membership community. So that's just kind of my take on what we are specifically. I kind of try to veer away from actually calling us like a country club. But if there was nothing else to refer to us as, I would say a country club for Black people.
I would say Ryan's really big on saying we're not in the space business, we're in the community business. And it's really all about community. And what's funny, what Saronda said was like, there was a small group of, Black individuals who could go to country clubs, but just in general, women. Like the majority of the team at TGS that work here, we're women. And that was something that was intentional with Ryan and TK, making sure that representation from women was in the club. And so it was very heartwarming for me, because I don't know about y'all, but after college, I worked in corporate. I was sometimes the only Black person, sometimes the only Black woman person. And so it's just like to be somewhere where I see people that look like me, and not only like the same skin tone, but like a Black woman that looks like me is very like fulfilling. And it's not like in a space where you have to be competitive.
Right.
It means a lot. But like we are a place where relationships grow, where relationships are cultivated. We're deeply rooted in culture. Like Saronda said, we do member experiences, we do programming, and TGS is where like a lot of businesses were made. There's like Gooder, Jasmine Crow, the founder of Gooder, she created that business here at TGS. One of our members, being in our new member orientation, he met the SVP of Cartoon Network and created a partnership. Wow. Just from being in a new member orientation that that the membership team runs, having that, like, what do you do? It's everybody like standing up telling what they do, and it's just like, that's somebody I need to know. And it's organic relationships that are made. It's not like forced. So I think for me to see that and to see people grow and see businesses grow at this space, and it's not like a space, like it's not like any other co-working space where people just go to work. It is a place where relationships are cultivated, businesses are formed, and even relationships, like romantic relationships are made. Like we've seen people get married here. Like, so it's just like, it's becoming like, in college, my Spanish teacher, when I took like 3 or 4 years of college, he would say, move to Atlanta, it is the Black Mecca, but like TGS in my eyes is becoming the Black Mecca.
Wow.
Specifically within that.
Just being honest.
Wow. Yeah. Let me tell you what's big about that. And I'm going to come back to you, Kelly.
I mean, they obviously said it all at this point.
So I'm doing the Ode to Atlanta. That's what I'm calling this feature. And for me, I've never lived in Atlanta. I'm not from Georgia. I'm from South Carolina. But being a South Carolina girl, I remember the first weekend I spent in Atlanta. I was in college, and at the time, my cousin had a condo downtown Atlanta. So I went to stay the weekend, and I remember calling my mom and just being like, I've never seen so many Black people in one space. And I was like, literally, I went a whole weekend, and all I saw was Black people. And I fell in love with Atlanta from that point, because like you said, Atlanta is the Black Mecca. So tell me, I know, Bree, you said gathering spot is becoming the Black Mecca, but for you all, none of you are from Atlanta. What was it like? What was it that drew you into Atlanta, that made you want to be there and call Atlanta home?
Ooh. So for me, I'm originally from Rochester, New York. Oh. Close to Canada. I went to predominantly white schools growing up. And I literally just talked to someone about this last night. That is so funny. So we were just talking about like relationships, and I was telling her that, I thought being lighter was better because I went to predominantly white schools, and it wasn't something that was consciously like in my mind. It was just like based off what I saw. Right. And just from being, that's, I'm like, I love the idea that I went to, like, granted, the school I went to, I went to school in the suburbs. I lived in the city of Rochester. I was in a program for smarter kids, so you got a better education. And so for me, it was just like, I was literally the only Black person, not like the only 5 Black people in my class, and I was the only Black person in my class. So it was just different. And then when my family moved to Florida and I went to a Black school, it was a complete culture shock. It was like a scary culture shock. Like I was like, I've never been around this many Black people. I thought something was wrong. And I was like, this should not be, like, as I've gotten older, it's just like, yo, I should not have that mindset. So when I was in high school, I went to like a kind of a mixed kind of school. I was like, yo, I'm going to an HBCU. I'm going to FAMU. I went to FAMU. I was just like, and there I majored in theater. And it's like with theater, it's like Atlanta, DC. But when I graduated, I got into corporate, and I was like, you know what? I've accomplished everything I could accomplish in Tallahassee. I gotta go. Do you want to move to LA or do you want to move to Atlanta? Because you're from New York and you're not trying to be in the cold. And my mom was just like, I don't want you to move too far. But I knew Saronda, who had been to LA, and she was like, Bree, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's like, it's a lot of people, it's a lot of imposter syndrome going on. People are pretending to be who they are there. And it's very expensive. And I was like, you know what? I think Atlanta. So I applied for a job with the company I was working with for Atlanta and Orlando. And I was like, whichever job I get, I was working at a bank, and I applied to be a manager in Orlando and a banker in Atlanta. And I said, if I move to Atlanta and I'm a banker, then I'll have more time to do the things I love. If I move to Orlando, I'm gonna just become a mom probably, and just like my ex-boyfriend at the time was getting ready to move to Orlando. So I was like, I'm gonna be like, seriously invested in that. I got the job in Atlanta. And when I moved here, it was just like, wow, to see so many people that look like me doing amazing things in all facets of life. And two, I went to Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, where you had Takia Crystal Kima, you had Will Packer, Anika Noni Rose, Common. Like, so it's like, I know the caliber of people that come out of FAMU, but just to like, even like the people that I knew who I was friends with, like my friend Vince Evans is now in the White House. One of my friends, Ray, he was working for Liquid Soul, who went to college with me, and he was like, come to this event. And and I'm like just fresh in Atlanta, and I would go, and I'm like, to see people I personally know like excelling in Atlanta, and then I saw like just Atlanta grow, I was just like, I'm not going anywhere. I want to build here. Right. Like, I want to start my family in this city. And now it made so much sense why my Spanish teacher used to say, and my Spanish teacher was from Raleigh, North Carolina. He was a Black man that taught Spanish at FAMU, had 3 sources of income, would tell us all the time. He was just like, y'all need to move to Atlanta. And I used to be like, I've only passed through Atlanta. I had never been to Atlanta for real, except for like football games for college. But when I came here, I was like, I'm not leaving. And it's crazy that Saronda said how long she's been here, because I'm like, right after her, I'm like, I can't believe I've been here that long, because it doesn't feel that long, but at the same time it does. And I'm happy I'm here, because Atlanta has just continued to grow. It's people come here to film movies. We are now becoming the Black Wakanda for tech. People not going to Silicon Valley anymore. They're coming to Atlanta. And it's like, though I'm not from here, I'm gonna claim it. That's home. That's home. I said, like, I'm gonna let y'all go.
Well, I was literally just gonna add that that's why Atlanta's full, because your professor told everybody to come to Atlanta. That's why. Wow. That's why Atlanta's full. Kelly, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, because you went to college here, Kelly.
Yeah. So for me, it was more so like, I'm from literally a small country town called Griffin in Georgia. We used to come to Atlanta to go to the mall. We used to come to Atlanta to do everything, literally everything. So for me, I have a strong, long line of Spelman women in my family. So that was an automatic. It was like, my mom would tell me all the time, you can apply to other colleges, but the money's from Spelman. So I had to go to Spelman, and I'm glad that I did because it showed me what true sisterhood means. And it just, to me, it was like, to me, what the gathering spot feels like to me now, that's what Spelman felt like to me. So it just felt like you could conquer the world. You could change everything that is in front of you. Like they would give you that feeling, that community feeling, that culture, that connecting with purpose, all of that. I felt all of that at Spelman, and I feel all of that at the gathering spot. So when I graduated from Spelman, you know, when you at Spelman, you think you just, oh, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. I'm gonna change this, that, and the third. I'm gonna be this woman on this uh corporation at the top, this, that, and the third, and I'm going to basically, you know, change the look, break those glass ceilings. That's who I thought I was going to be. Got into sports, stayed in Atlanta, got into sports and the sports industry. And that was just kind of like, oh, wow, you're going to have to grind to get to the top. So I was with the Atlanta Falcons for a little bit. And then I shifted over to the gathering spot. And that shift, I did what I needed to do with the Atlanta Falcons. And when I got here, it was like, okay, now you can actually use those ideas that you had gathered with the Atlanta Falcons that they wouldn't let you use or wouldn't implement or execute because you came up with it and you're a Black girl. Now you can actually do it at the gathering spot. So for me, Atlanta was just kind of like home. Atlanta feels like home. But the reason why I'm still here is because I have been able to get with a company, a business, a family that listens to my ideas and actually cares about, you know, where it's coming from and able to implement them. So for me, Atlanta is just, I don't know, it's home. I never thought I would live anywhere else. Like after school, I said, I'm just gonna stay right here, and here I am, still here.
Let me tell y'all. So all of that is inspiring, and y'all pretty much got me ready to move, even though I just love it. And it's so crazy because in this feature that I'm doing, I've interviewed several people from Atlanta, and I will say at first when I interviewed CeeLo, that was like the pinnacle for me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is Mr. Atlanta, and we chopping it up. But CeeLo told me, he said, you know, I'm not originally from Atlanta, even though people put me with Atlanta. Like, just automatically think, you know, I grew up here, born and raised. And that's the feeling that I get from y'all. Like, even when y'all were talking, I was just hearing, like, oh, this is home for them. This is home for them. So if I pop up,
Come on.
We got you.
Come see
We got
us.
you. We know all the spots to take you to, the brunch, everything. We got you.
listen, and I'm coming down there because originally this feature was supposed to be face to face. Like, I wanted all of my interviews in Atlanta face to face. Of course, COVID kind of shut it down. But that leads me to my next question though. Do you have to live in Atlanta or in any of the locations to be a member of the gathering spot?
Nope.
No, you
No.
don't. Well, and to Brianna's point, as she mentioned, Ryan is really big about the fact that it is not about space.
It's community.
So it's not driven off of what market we're in. It's really driven off of the community and the way that we're able to connect with folks who may not even be in our specific market. So we have a digital platform called TGS Connect, which is where pretty much all of our content lives. So like past content, current content, any type of hybrid member events that we're doing, hosting here, we often live stream them. So our members who may be traveling or may have relocated are still able to remain engaged with the community, not just in programming, but we also have, you know, the engagement side of the platform. So they can create business profiles and personal profiles and kind of create message boards and discussion boards and still engage virtually. We have clearly pivoted to everything is virtual at this point, right? Like still in the middle of COVID, likely things won't return to what we thought as normal. So that was a pivot that we took during COVID, and it has worked in our favor because we've had so many members to have to relocate because of job loss and things like that, and they still want to be engaged in the community. And so the platform TGS Connect is available for them. Or even if you weren't physically a member of the space and you have heard about the gathering spot and you want to be able to dive into the content that we host for our members, you have the option to do that. We have a completely digital membership that those that are not physically present in Atlanta or DC or LA can actually join to take part in what the events that we host here for our community.
And then I'll add too, like I personally had a friend of mine who was like living in DC and was like, I'm joining because you work there and because it's for us. And he lives in Charlotte now and he's paying. Wow. And he's just like, this is a donation for me right now. But it's like, he was just like, I'm waiting for y'all to come to Charlotte. But it's like, I don't want to lose my status. I want people to know, like, I was rocking with y'all from back then, like from the beginning. Yeah. And that too is just like, because even him and his wife, they came to Atlanta and they were able to come to the club because they were members. Right. And it was just like, I get to see what Atlanta's like, even though I'm living in DC now in Charlotte. It's just like having that, if you're, think about all the people that travel for work. Right. It's like, oh, I can go to LA and go to the club in LA, or I can go to the club in DC or Atlanta, or whatever the next few locations might be. But it's just like having that, having that capability of making those choices is just like very,
it's innovative.
It's a great feeling too. It's just like, I'm part of a club where it's not only in one location. I can go anywhere. And even if I'm not there physically, I can connect with people virtually. So we, like Saronda said, we have our TGS Connect platform where you can watch content, all the experiences that we create, but you can also connect with members on this platform. Like, if it's like, oh, Kelly's an executive assistant, I'm an executive assistant for another company. Let me connect with Kelly just to have that relationship. Or it's just a way to connect with members outside of going on Facebook, Twitter, or any of these other social platforms. It's like we have our own.
Okay, so that leads me to two questions now. First, can you tell me a little bit about some of the events that people can take part in, either virtually or in person? Are y'all doing in-person events?
Yes. So we curate events. What's crazy is COVID made us curate even more events. So 2019 is when I started, January 2019, and we did maybe about like 250 events, in-person events. COVID, we did like 750.
Wow.
2020. And that was because we had to pivot and we had to make sure that we had that benefit for members because they couldn't come to the physical space. But that's why we say it's all about community and not about space.
When the place that people gather has to close its doors, then you got to pivot, because how do you create value if a lot of your members are actually coming in to gather and connections that get work done.
And the news is saying you cannot gather. But like, we curate workshops, fireside chats, panel discussions, cocktail classes,
during Valentine's,
like literally everything. Like this week alone, we did a Monday, we had a conversation on the art of photography with two amazing photographers that have been between LA, Atlanta, and New York. We did that on site in Atlanta, but then in DC at the same time, we did a virtual conversation because DC is very much so shut down. We did a virtual conversation on landing brand partnerships. And then today is Thursday.
Today's Thursday.
Yeah, so on Tuesday, we did an event on with Brandon Anderson from Raheem. Raheem is an app that he created after his partner was murdered due to police violence and brutality. And so we had a very important and informative conversation with him, and that was virtual. But like, we curate so many experiences every day: social, informative, fireside chats, panels, workshops. We're just trying to make sure that we give the community what they need to grow, and also educate and inspire the community. and that's in Atlanta and DC as well, and soon to be LA. And we want to make sure too, we're keeping up with what's going on in those cities locally. So it's like, we do a lot, we program a lot, but all of our programs, like, there are programs that are very beneficial to our membership base. And even if you don't watch it when it goes live, or if you're not there physically, you can always tune into TGS Connect to watch it later. And that's what we often see. A lot of people, it's like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how PR really works. Like, do I need a publicist? You can literally go on TGS Connect, type in PR, and see
any conversations
that we've done as it relates to public relations, and watch them. And then you can see the people that are probably members who have put on these conversations, and connect with them on Connect as well.
And
so now it's like, you don't have to do anything.
She's really intentional. Bree is really intentional about creating events that hit all different fields. So as she was saying, they are literally for our community and our membership. She's hitting on those who are in, I don't know, banking, finance. And she's also hitting those that are in film, music, whatever. She's curating all of those events so that everybody has something something that's gonna fill them, basically. So that's your girl, right?
Because our community is so diverse, our programming has to be diverse. We don't just cater to entrepreneurs. We don't just cater to creatives. Literally any professional industry that you can think of, you can find here. And so you can find all of that same programming on TGS Connect. Or if we haven't done something, which we've done something in every industry.
Literally everything.
Yeah, literally every industry you can think of, we've done an event around that industry.
And what I do want to add is, not only are we curating these events around like these different industries, but our membership base too. That, like, we just had like one of our members is about to produce a film that we all just found out about, and we're making sure like we highlight our members and that we recognize them at the same time, because it's a lot of those people are making that magic happen, like here in this space, and it's just like we have to make sure that we're recognizing them as well.
Absolutely. So what's next? What's next for you three? What's next for the Gathering Spot?
What's next for us three? Well, what's next for the Gathering Spot is LA. So we are about to start accepting members in LA, and gonna start like programming, things like that. We did the same thing in DC. So before the space was open, we were doing like private dinners and things like that, just so that we could start facilitating the community and members could start connecting and engaging. So we're gonna take that same concept and do that in LA. So we've got a lead person over there. What's next for me? You know, I'm over membership. I'm all membership. So my goal essentially really is to continue to grow in that role, and potentially oversee membership for either a region or the entire company as a whole. So, but I actually just kind of started a new role. So we had membership as one single department, and we've broken it down into two departments, because there is obviously the recruitment piece, but there's also the member experience piece. So once you come in, once you're a member, me and my team, we're facilitating the relationships and making sure we're getting members connected and engaged in the community. And I really love that, because I'm naturally a people person, naturally. Brianna came to Atlanta, I'm like, okay, who can I connect you with? She looking for a job. Let me go through my phone book to see, if there's anybody I can connect you with. I have a passion for connecting people. I really do, because some people aren't able to make those connections themselves. And if I'm one of those people who's just like, I don't mind it. I don't lose anything from it. If anything, I gain the respect of somebody else of like, yo, I just got here and I needed somebody to create a website for my business. And you connected me with the best web designer in Atlanta. And they might not be the best web designer in Atlanta, but as long as that person thinks that they are, that's all that matters to me. So I'm excited to thrive in this role, of really making the experience one that members would not find in any other space similar to ours.
I love it.
What's next for me?
What's next for you? Big shot.
Right now, so with DC growing and LA growing, just trying to form it, because I oversee our member events department. So just trying to make sure that we have the people in place to make sure we are able to execute these programs in all markets. So my goal is to just not only learn the markets and be well versed, but just make sure that everything that you see in Atlanta, you will see in DC and both LA too.
I love it.
Okay, so for me, what's next for me? Because I am Ryan and TK's executive assistant, my job is to literally make their job easy as possible as they are in DC and LA. So for me, it's just staying on top of their schedules, staying on top of anybody who wants to hear them speak and be on film, whatever it is, I'm handling the backhand work so that all I have to do is present it to them. They give me a yes or no, and we keep it pushing on to the next. So my job, I mean, I guess for me, just excelling in my role and also being open to new leadership roles, whether that's special projects, whether he has me over just scheduling. I don't know what Ryan and TK have me, well, they'll have me do these 2 locations open, but whatever it is to excel in it and be the best at it. So
I love it. Let me tell y'all have really inspired me in this interview. Like, I'm seriously gonna talk to my fiance because
come on,
You just bought a house.
come on.
You can't move.
I know. We need to. Let me tell y'all. We went down there for Labor Day weekend, and we stayed in Buckhead. And I remember looking from our hotel window, and I was just like, "Babe, that building is leasing. That looks like that could be a good spot for 2020 the magazine. Like, we may need an Atlanta headquarters." So I'm telling y'all.
Manifest.
What
I-
part of South Carolina are you in?
I'm in Columbia.
Columbia.
So the first time I've ever been down south was South Carolina. Like I said, I'm from upstate, and my dad's sister lived in South Carolina, and it's the first time I saw a Piggly Wiggly, first time I saw fire ants, the first time I had to. It was just like a tornado. It was like traumatic, and I said, I'm never moving down south.
And now look at you.
And now I'm here.
What part of South Carolina are you from?
Columbia.
Columbia, okay.
Where DP's from.
Now I'm born and raised Columbia, don't get me wrong, but my dad was in the military, so I moved to the West Coast when I was in the 7th grade. I only moved twice. Like, I was just like, yeah, this ain't for me. So I'm one of them grandma girls. Like, I stayed with my grandma as long as I could, but I lived in California, I lived in Washington State, and I'm a Southern girl. I love the South. I wasn't too fond of the West Coast. I don't like cold weather, so you're never gonna like that. Just ain't happening. But Atlanta is looking real movish.
We're not full. Don't listen to them tell you that we're full. We got room for you.
I believe it. So tell me this. How, and I'm asking for myself, even though I'm sure my readers want to know too. How do we get a membership?
Go ahead, Saronda, tell them.
How do we get a membership? I mean, so typically there is an application process for anyone interested in joining. We've got a recruitment team. They typically host interviews and then kind of make the decision on if, it's a good fit for both parties, if it's a good fit for us and a good fit for them, if they'll benefit from the membership. And then we move forward with the next steps. For you, we could skip all of that, and just go ahead and welcome you into the community. So, I mean, I can connect with you after this. We can get an email sent over with all the information regarding membership and get you set up for sure. We would love to have you in the community. And that way, whenever you, decide to visit Atlanta and then move to Atlanta, you've got a home.
You in there like swimwear.
Right. You got a home, and you got us already. We're plugged into Atlanta, so we can help you get plugged in as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So please drop your social media handles so my followers can follow you, even though I'm sure y'all have way more followers than me, but let them know, like, how can people stay connected with the Gathering Spot?
Yeah. So definitely follow the Gathering Spot on Instagram. Our Instagram is @thegathering spots. And I can be found on Instagram. I'm going to spell it out. Saronda Sierra. So that's CYRHONDA CYERRA. And when you pull it up, it says the plug. So if you see that, that's me.
Okay.
The plug. I am Brianna Lavon _ on
Can you spell your
Instagram.
name, please?
B, it's Brianna, not
Brianna. It's Brianna.
It's spelled the way
Brianna.
it's pronounced. BRIAUNA as in violin, ONNE _ on Instagram. And then I'm Brianna Lavon on Twitter. But don't come to my Twitter unless that's
Just don't
not
come.
my Twitter is where I be myself.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. I think my Twitter is actually different from my Instagram, but Instagram is at Kelly _Cerise. So that's Kelly, KELLI _CERISE. Twitter, I think it's just Kelly Cerise. One word.
And then you can find all of us on Clubhouse also. For those that are active on Clubhouse, we're all on Clubhouse.
Are you on Clubhouse, Sakura?
I am not. I am.
Girl, we about to send you an
We
invitation.
got
right now.
invitations to send you.
I'm gonna send you an invitation right now.
Yes. We're gonna get
Do
you
you know what
connected.
Clubhouse is?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Oh, girl, let me
Say
let me
less.
see
We
this
got you.
conversation.
All right.
We got you.
Wait. You gotta tell
Right
me.
here.
You gotta tell me your phone number. Then you gotta. Oh, I got 5 new invites. Look at them. They give me so many invites on Clubhouse. It's ridiculous.
We can email her to get all her information.
Oh, we'll email you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Don't want you giving out your number on,
Right.
on this recording.
Not the recording. And then,
All right. My bad.
but it's absolutely been a pleasure, ladies. I'm looking forward to speaking more with you, working with you guys, and definitely seeing about that membership. So
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you for your time, Takara.
no problem.
Thank you.
So